F355 GTS. When Ferrari first brought this car out, I thought it was one of the most beautiful Ferraris they ever designed, and I still think that today. At the time I couldn't afford to buy one, but I was happy with my 308 GTS, which I had for 35 years. And 3 years ago I bought this car, and I've done a fair bit of work on it. It's, I think in one of my previous videos I mentioned the sticky switches, the leather, some of the corrosion, steel bodied car, so it's going to corrode, and some of the other problems. But only this week I backed the car out and the alternator wasn't charging, so I've had it sent away. It's been refurbished and it's back on the car, and it seems to be. I always thought this car didn't sound quite as loud with the exhaust note as others, although it's got a standard exhaust, and I have driven my late brother's one which had a tube exhaust which was very loud. And looking over it today, I noticed one of the vacuum pipes was leaking, which goes to the valve in the exhaust, which I've cured, so whether it's going to open that valve and sound any different, I don't know. So this is the first drive I've had since. But in some ways it's very rewarding for me because you know, once you've solved the problems, and these cars do have some problems. I mean, they're old car now. This is 1997 classic, one of the last, I think, of the true classic Ferraris, and you know, the manual gear change is beautiful. In some ways it reminds me of my 308, but that's why I'm so surprised, because I'd never had sticky switches on the 308 or trouble with the lever on the dashboard. But saying they didn't have lever on the dashboard, but you overcome these problems. They're not terrible, and I think if you're reasonable, competent with spanners, you can do most jobs on these, even changing the belts, which have to be done 3 to 5 years or so, depending on the mileage. It's not a job which is you know, has to go to a specialist or a dealer. You can do it by taking the fuel tanks out if that's easy, but I might actually take the engine out and gearbox out this next year and just check it over, make sure everything's okay, just because I've never had the engine and gearbox out of this, so maybe it's time I had a look at that. I'm sure I'll find a little few more jobs to do, but even if you don't use this car much, which I haven't, it's still a pleasure just to look at it. It's so beautiful, this car. I think when they brought the 458 out, that was another beautiful car. You know, some of the Ferraris have not been, you know, that exciting to look at, and others have been exceptional. But this one I've enjoyed so far, hoping to use it a bit more, and it's not massively expensive if you can do a lot of the work yourself, as I've said before. And it's got quite a reasonable boot area at the front. You should get the leather toolkit, which comes with a it comes with an auxiliary belt. I don't think you'd ever be able to change that beside the road, but at least you've got a spare one. And also the leather bound service book, wallet. The one thing that always goes missing is a mag light, the torch with Ferrari on it, and if you have to replace them, they're quite expensive. Still a lovely car to drive this. I find the steering slightly light, but well, it is compared to the 308 because they didn't have power steering. But it's a comfortable car. In the Spider, the seats are not quite as well upholstered as these ones, so these are quite comfortable, I find. And not too bad on petrol. And they're down to a price now. You can get a reasonable one for 60,000, 70,000, you know, where before they was a lot more than that. So for that sort of money, I mean, they was road tested at 183 miles an hour, so they're not a slow car. You can hear the creaking. I should have took the panel out of a roof. It does creak a bit, but it's just a body flexing, they all do that, so I'm not too worried about that. But I've enjoyed this car so far. I've done a lot of work, but I enjoy doing that to a degree. Now I don't have to do it. I probably enjoy working on cars more and bikes. But yeah, so it's a great little car, and I say little compared to the modern Ferraris, it is quite narrow, luckily, so I'm getting in between the others in my garage. But I must say the exhaust doesn't sound much different since I've done that, so I might have to investigate more. So thanks for watching, and please subscribe. Thanks.